cold, damp wool against skin, the smell of churned mud and horse sweat. A shield wall stretches along the ridge, thousands of men shoulder to shoulder, axes and spears bristling above painted limewood boards. Below them, the ground trembles. Horses, thousands of them, moving as one, banners snapping, steel catching the weak October light. A horn sounds. The line tightens. Behind that wall stands a king. Below it waits the man who has come to take his crown. January 1066. King Edward of England dies without an heir. He leaves behind no son, no clear successor, and 3 men who each believe the crown is theirs. Harald Godwinson, England's most powerful nobleman, is crowned within a day. English sources say Edward named Harald his successor with his dying words, and the crown is confirmed by the country's Council of Nobles. Across the Channel, Duke William of Normandy calls it theft. Years earlier, he says, Harald swore an oath on holy relics to support William's claim. Harald was in Normandy at the time, shipwrecked on William's coast. Whether that oath was freely given or extracted from a man far from home and in no position to refuse, the 2 sides tell differently. A third claimant watches from further north. Decades before, 2 kings, Harthacnut of Denmark and Magnus of Norway, had agreed that if either died without an heir, the other would inherit his throne. It was a pact about Denmark and Norway, but Harthacnut went on to become King of England too, and when he died, Magnus claimed the old pact meant England as well. Magnus is long dead by 1066. His claim has passed to his successor, Harald Hardrada, King of Norway, who now says that promise, and England with it, belongs to him. By spring, England has 1 king and 2 invasions coming. Normandy, summer 1066. William builds a fleet from nothing, hundreds of ships, an army of knights, infantry and archers, assembling on the coast at Dives, then Saint-Valery. He is ready by early August. The wind is not. For weeks, the Channel wind blows from the north, wrong for a crossing. William waits. Harald waits too, his own army and fleet stationed along England's south coast, watching the horizon where William is expected. Then, on the 8th of September, with the harvest overdue and supplies running out, Harald stands his southern levies down and sends them home. 9 days later, Harald Hardrada's fleet appears off the coast of Yorkshire. Hundreds of ships, an army of Norwegians, and Harald's own estranged brother Tostig, sailing beside him, exiled the year before and hungry for revenge. Harald has spent the summer facing south. The invasion comes from the north. Hardrada takes York almost without a fight. Harald's response is immediate. In days, he marches his army the length of England to Yorkshire. An extraordinary pace for a medieval force, moving faster than the Norwegians think possible. On the 25th of September, Harald's army reaches Hardrada's forces at Stamford Bridge. Many of the Norwegians are caught without their armor, left behind at the ships on a warm day, expecting no fight. The battle is brutal and total. Hardrada is killed. Tostig is killed. Of the hundreds of ships that carried the invasion fleet to England, medieval accounts say only a small fraction are needed to carry the survivors home. It is one of the most complete victories an English king will ever win. Harald has crushed an invasion, avenged a betrayal, and proven himself as a commander. He allows his army 3 days to rest. 3 days later, 250 miles south, the wind turns. William's fleet crosses the Channel and lands at Pevensey on the 28th of September. No English army is there to meet him. Harold's forces are still in Yorkshire, 3 days from even hearing the news. William moves inland to Hastings and begins to fortify a base, burning and foraging through the surrounding countryside while he waits for Harald to come to him. Word reaches Harald in York within days. He turns his army south immediately. What follows is one of the hardest marches in English history. Harold's army covers well over 400 miles round trip in under 3 weeks, north to Yorkshire, into a decisive battle. And now the length of England again, south toward Hastings, with men who have already fought once and barely rested. He pauses in London only long enough to gather what reinforcements he can. Some of his advisors urge him to wait longer, to let the army recover and grow. Harald does not wait. By the 13th of October, his army is within sight of William's forces near Hastings. They are outnumbered in cavalry and archers, and in the morning, they will fight anyway. Dawn, October the 14th, 1066. Harald positions his army on Senlac Hill, shield wall locked along the ridge. Housecarls and thegns in the center, armed with axes and spears, levies filling the flanks. William's forces attack uphill. Archers first, then infantry, then cavalry, throwing themselves against a wall that does not break. The fighting stretches through the morning. Norman charges fail and fail again. At one point, a rumor spreads through William's own ranks that the Duke has been killed. William rides out before his own men, lifts his helmet to show his face, and shouts that he still lives, rallying the attack to continue. Twice, sections of William's army fall back down the hill. Real retreats or deliberate ones, accounts differ. And both times, parts of the English line break formation to chase them. Each time, the pursuing Englishmen are cut off and cut down in the open ground. By the afternoon, the shield wall has thinned. Hour after hour of holding under arrow fire and repeated charges has worn it down from the inside. Late in the battle, Harald is killed near the ridge. The account written closest to the battle describes William himself, with a small group of knights, cutting his way to Harald and striking him down in close combat. No arrow in that version at all. The image most people know today, an arrow through the eye, comes from the Bayeux Tapestry and doesn't appear in writing until decades later. Almost 1,000 years on, exactly how Harald died is still genuinely unsettled. With Harald dead, the English line collapses. What remains of the shield wall breaks apart into scattered, desperate fighting, then retreat. By nightfall, the army that beat Hardrada 3 weeks earlier no longer exists. William does not march on London immediately. He waits, securing the southeast, before advancing toward the city he now intends to rule. On Christmas Day, 1066 at Westminster Abbey, William is crowned King of England. Castles begin rising across the country within months. Wooden motte and bailey fortresses, then stone, a physical announcement that England has a new ruling class. Land changes hands on a scale the country has never seen. 3 weeks, 2 battles, 2 invading armies. Harald Godwinson had destroyed the first. The second destroyed him. England would never be ruled the same way again. There are other wars, other empires, other men who believed themselves immortal. We will tell you of them too, if you choose to stay.